Previously on manual LS swapping a Bentley. These aren't the headers I'm gonna end up running.
It's sports night.
All right, we're here at our official OSHA approved station for attaching flywheels and other things. And this is a flywheel. Okay. All right, I got to torque these 15, 20 something, and then 70 something. Okay, where are we at? We're having a good time. We're having a good time. We're having a good time. Okay. I forgot Loctite. Forgot to cut the end off my new Loctite. And this is gonna go really easy, and it's not gonna do anything weird, and everything's gonna be fine. I have none of the bolts for these. Huge shout out to xTool for sending over their MetalFab unit, their laser welder and cutter. It's used throughout this video, and if you're interested, check it out in the link in the description below.
I like Rolls-Royce, but this is a situation. These are seat controls. I'm probably pulling the memory function. We'll deal with seat heaters, but I'll probably pull memory function just because I don't really use it and I kind of need the space at the moment. So anyways, that's probably disappearing, and I'll figure out what to do with seat heaters and go from there. But anyways, this is the seat memory module and should give us a little bit more room.
Some of you will notice that that is a Trimec TR6060 from like a 2014 Camaro, which is a manual transmission in a car that did not come with a manual transmission. And this breaks into the larger design language I have for the inside of this car, which we'll go over in a future video.
These should be M5s? They are. Oh wow, there's no way I'm getting a... Oh, okay. They're not that tight. Okay.
But for the moment, out of a solid piece of aluminum, we're going to machine the center console, and we're going to end up using copper on the actual gated shifter part, which is using the factory mounting points on the side of the transmission tunnel. I decided to go straight grain walnut on this for the sole fact that I'm probably going to redo the rest of the wood in the car, so this is going to look a little bit out of place for the moment, but it'll all come together. Then I'm going to just put some tung oil on it to seal it in. And the actual center console slides down, and I'm not going to plug anything in because I have to do the linkage, but sits right like that. That's where this comes into play. This is a stainless steel part that, again, mounts to either side of the transmission tunnel and then uses these 4 holes where the shift gate actually bolts on as well. This was cut out using xTool's MetalFab. They sent that over a couple of weeks ago, and it's been really, really nice for making parts exactly like this. It's really as easy as loading the material into the machine, dragging any files that you need from your CAD program of choice, and setting the material thickness, pressing go, and a couple of seconds later, a part drops out from below. One thing I'll say is that switching between the welding nozzle and the cutting head is actually surprisingly easy. You just clip the things in there and then put the nozzle right on there, and then you're good to go. If I'm honest, I've never really liked plasma tables because they take so much time to set up and so much time to maintain. The fact that I can just drag and drop this into the program and have a part in hand so quickly with relatively little effort on my part is an absolute game changer for having one of these in the shop. It makes little brackets like this that I'd have to wait some time for just so much easier to where I don't have to think about that part of it. So in theory, I'm going to pull a few things, mostly off the wheel and the hubs, pull the exhaust, and I'm going to drop the entire front subframe, front suspension and everything off of the car, and then that'll make it much easier. That way I don't have to like pull everything off the top of the car. That's my idea. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to try to not remove the hood because I don't think I can do that by myself, but I have a feeling I'm going to end up pulling the hood. Oh, battery cable. That would be good. 3. It's a mess, but actually everything's a mess. But it's out. So now I don't really want to work under the car, but like I kind of don't have anywhere else to put it. So I guess we're kind of working under the car. Okay. Out of there, and I'm gonna spend the next bit of time cleaning up this frame and pulling out a whole bunch of other stuff that I don't need off this chassis, and cleaning off all of the grime and 30 years of old carb that exists on this, so that I don't put new engine in 30-year-old car. Wait, no, that's exactly what I'm doing. I decided to set it in here, and it honestly fits pretty well. We have a few things that we definitely need to work on. Exhaust manifolds on this side are going to be an absolute pain, and I'm not going to be able to use my LS7 manifolds. My power steering relocation bracket is going to have to get relocated to a different relocation location. And transmission is quite a bit higher than the old one, so the entire engine and everything needs to go down 2.5 inches, which means I have to cut the rear subframe a little bit. We're just going to notch it out and weld on a little bit of an addition onto the bottom of it, but the oil pan and everything will clear in the front. And yeah, it's 9:30 in the morning. We should have it wrapped up by 2:45. Overall, though, we're not bad. It fits in there pretty nicely. And we just have a little bit of that height issue to deal with, and go from there. I have less width between the frame rails that I originally thought. So I originally had a ICT bracket that also mounted the power steering pump, the factory GM power steering pump, and that didn't work. So we took the existing Bentley power steering pump, which, by the way, is just a GM power steering pump, God bless them, and ended up machining our own custom bracket. Actually, we machined 2 brackets, so we're going to go get those installed. So this bracket essentially exists in 2 forms. This upper one, which goes on to the head using those 2 mounting holes. And honestly, this goes about exactly where the factory unit did, plus or minus a little bit. So these go on here. And then these 3 that loop around here, and look, I'm also upset that I forgot to countersink these. So luckily they are hidden behind, like, and again, completely behind the pulley. But yeah, that's the only way I'm even a little bit okay with this. Get a few more threads on those. Got this one. And then we have one more, but we'll take a note on that in just a second. We built ourselves a little spacer that slides onto the end of the factory LS power steering or serpentine belt pulley. All of that slides together and then drops right in, and like that. Okay, you know what? That clears. It does not clear by a lot. We gained a little bit now that we tightened this up a bit. You know, running this alternator up, it tilted up. I don't know. We'll see if we have issues, I guess. The final thing we're going to look at right now is this factory oil pump bracket, or oil filter bracket, rather. This is the one that comes with your average LS swap Speedway Motors kind of critter. Where this goes, right down in there, if I put an oil filter on that, it hits this and like 30 other things. So this is our solution for that. It uses the same O-rings and mounting that the other one did, but on the back here we have some big old slots that were cut in for no other reason than that's the size of end mill that I could fit in there. And then to seal it all up, we have a nice bottom plate that bolts on like that, and we'll have some individual screws, and all of that will sit underneath so that I can send, I definitely put bolts in that, don't look. So I can send AN lines up to my cooler and my remote oil filter. So in the last video, we built this pedal bracket, and I have to pull this off again in just a second, but anyways, it deals with this brake up here, does brake pedal things, and right now we're going unboosted because I have an entire video on the booster for this as well. This is throttle. This is why there's absolutely no room down here whatsoever, because of these pedals that fold down, and hidden back here is, and sort of hanging down, is the clutch pedal bracket that we built the last video as well. I wish I had better footage of anything that was going on this side. I don't. There's no room for hands, let alone cameras. Well, we've talked a little bit about the cutting features of the xTool MetalFab, which I think are brilliant, and we've done a little bit of the cleaning like we did on the individual throttle bodies last time. I wanted to take some time and focus on the welding aspect of it, because I think it has some fairly specific applications that are really, really nice that beat out TIG welding. What I'm talking about is that with TIG welding, you have excellent control over the heat of the weld, and you do have a smaller torch, so you have the ability to fit within different confines a little bit nicer. If you're in a tight space, if you're doing rounded parts, you know, that's the direction to go. Let's time how long it takes for the laser welder to do this versus setting up the TIG welder and having the TIG welder do this. Done. So the first thing I notice about these is look at the heat affected zone. This is 304 stainless, by the way. Look at the heat affected zone on the laser weld versus the TIG weld. I'm not the best TIG welder in the world, but man, this just made it so much quicker, and I was even able to do the starts and stops a little bit nicer. Again, these are split, so it immediately tried to, and actually it did on one of these. You can see how this just kind of mushroomed out, and you lose the weld. If I'm completely honest, I was skeptical about the welding capabilities of this laser welder going into this, and now that's my choice out of the two for sure. What we have here is what I'm calling a fish plate, which is just a flat piece of stainless, and we have 3 bolt holes that have threaded inserts welded onto the back, or weld nuts welded onto the back of them. It has a bunch of long straight lines that need to get welded, and this gets welded onto this sheet metal frame. I tacked it up here with the TIG welder, and like I could go through and TIG weld all of this, and it would be perfectly fine. However, it's actually, I mean, it's overhead, I'm standing up, it's not the most ergonomic welding conditions in the world, and also it would take a decent amount of time to actually go through and weld all of that. So let's give the xTool MetalFab a try. So I have my proper PPE on, which makes me look really cool, gloves and everything, and let's give it a shot. Overall, I'm really impressed with how that glued together considering the impurities in the base metal and also the decent gap it had to fill. We made a little bit of progress, so that'll probably do it for this video. I'm having a lot of fun with this, and I hope to continue it in the future. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment down below, and thank you guys very much for watching.